Hello Misfits and welcome. In today's video, we are talking about 5 things that DMs love running in Dungeons and Dragons. Last week, I tackled the 5 things that I don't love, and today I'm tackling the 5 that I do. Now, of course, this is my own personal list, so there's every possibility that the things that I love about the game are not the same as the things that you love about the game, and that is okay. There are so many different aspects of Dungeons and Dragons that there really is like a little bit of something for everybody, and that's what I really love about that. But if there are things that you love that don't make it onto this list, tell me about it in the comments below. I would really love to read that. But let's get into this list. Let's talk about these 5 things. So number 1, I actually really love puzzles. Puzzles, riddles, mysteries, those really challenging things that the party has to solve. I really like these, and I really like watching the table either get totally stumped and have to spend some time kind of, working their way through solving this, or I just like listening and hearing what the party comes up with as a possible solution. Several years ago now, I remember watching some interview of Matt Mercer, and he was talking about puzzles that he puts in his games, and something that he said is that sometimes he won't have a solution to the puzzle or the problem. He will kind of leave it open-ended and just see what the party comes up with, and when one of them comes up with something really creative or something that feels like a rewarding and adequate solution, then that's what he decides to go with, and he goes from there. And I really like that. I think there are certain scenarios in which you should have maybe a set solution figured out, but you should always be open-minded to what the party is going to come up with. And I think if the answer ends up being one of these things that the party comes up with, it's going to feel way more rewarding to the players at your table, because they will really feel like they figured it out and they solved it. And I love those moments. I think they're really cool. Now, I do understand that puzzles are not everybody's cup of tea. I actually use them pretty sparingly, all things considered, because I feel like most dungeon masters know, but sometimes things that we think are easy and simple, our players just really scratch their heads over them. I have certainly watched my table just sweat, just totally get stressed out and freaked out over trying to solve something and figure out a problem. And it's always amusing. It really is. And maybe that's another reason why I like puzzles, because I like watching my table struggle for a little bit before they figure it out. So I do use them sparingly, but I do really enjoy them, so I had to put them on this list. Number 2, I really like using new monsters. I really like throwing new stat blocks of creatures at my players. I like this because it helps me keep my table on their toes. I really try to change things and always throw new stuff at my table. I like to do this because it helps cut back on metagaming at the table, and it also helps keep my players thinking creatively and critically about how they're going to solve different combat encounters. They don't know this monster, or they've not come up against it before, and so now they have to kind of test the waters, see what the monster is weak to or what it's really strong at, and try to work around that as they come up with their combat strategy as the encounter is unfolding. Now, using new monsters and continually throwing new creatures at my party also does negatively impact me as a dungeon master, because I don't know these monsters as well, so I'm also kind of figuring them out and learning how to use them as I'm throwing them at my party. And so that's always an added challenge, but I think the pros outweigh the cons. If I keep throwing familiar monsters at my party, then there's less excitement and less mystery there. They're going to know exactly how to tackle that creature, what it's weak to, etc., and that's not as fun. But throwing some weird, bizarre thing swaying at them that they've never seen before, that's always going to be exciting. And it doesn't even always have to be a completely new stat block. Sometimes you can use an old monster, but kind of reskin it, describe it as looking different, adjust the stats just a little bit so that it keeps the party on their toes. And that kind of variation really helps keep the game exciting. Number 3, roleplay. Roleplay is probably my absolute favorite aspect of the game. I really enjoy stepping into a character, and even better than that is sitting back and watching my players step into their characters and play out a scene that I'm not even involved in as a character. That is so, fulfilling and rewarding to watch. I think one, because I just love seeing other people kind of play this game of imagination with me, and 2, whenever that happens, it really does feel like the story that we're creating and the world that we've built together is real. And there's just something really magical about that I just love. I just really, really love that. And it's roleplay has always been my favorite aspect of the game. Just knowing that there is a game out there where your imagination is the limit is just so cool, and I never get tired of it, ever. So yeah, absolutely one of my favorite parts of the game, hands down. Number 4, interactive combat locations. This is an interesting thing to put on this list because it's something that I'm still actively learning and trying to get better at, but I really like it when combat encounters are spiced up by a place or a location that is an added obstacle for the party. So I don't always love combat, I really don't, but I do like it when running an encounter in a place is kind of designed in a way to keep the party on their toes. They either have to continually move around the map, or there's something that's happening on a certain initiative count that's affecting how the players are able to tackle the threats at hand. I really, really like that. I think that's what I need to continue to work on and get into in terms of combat, because I find aspects of combat to be really boring, or I don't know, just not as exciting or thrilling as other aspects of the game. But in the times when I have run combat in a place that's just a really unique location setup, an arena that's getting smaller each round, or places with moving landscapes and stuff, that combat has always been far more interesting to me, and I haven't gotten as frustrated or annoyed or bored when that combat has been playing out. Number 5, smart characters. Now, you might notice, if you watched my 5 things DMs hate running, I put smart characters on there because they are really difficult to run, and it can be a challenge to pull them off. However, they are also on my list of things that DMs love running because they are extremely fun characters to play as, and when you do manage to pull off some really clever stuff with them, it is so rewarding. I don't think it's a total cop-out to like and dislike something. I think there is enough room and complexity in the game and in life in general for you to both like something and dislike something. So yes, I am putting smart characters on this list. Alright, so that was 5 things that DMs love running in D&D, or at least this DM loves running. Did you agree with my list? Did you disagree with my list? I would love to hear all about that. Tell me the things that you agreed with. Tell me the things that are on your list that maybe weren't on mine. I would love to hear all about that stuff. And also, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy the content that I make, feel free to like and subscribe. That stuff really, really helps me out. But more importantly, leave a comment down below. The engagement on this video is what helps people find this video and this channel in general, and we definitely want that to happen, so please do that. But with all of that said and done, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and I will see you again next time. My last video, the 5 things DMs hate running, got tons of comments on it, which was great. I love seeing that level of engagement on a video. That was wonderful to see. I also felt super validated by the people that agreed with my list, and I enjoyed hearing about what's on other people's lists of kind of D&D dislikes. There were also a number of people that were concerned by the things that I don't like about the game, which was pretty humorous to read about. Y'all were definitely very quick to offer tips and advice to help me enjoy those aspects of the game more, which, while very sweet, I think at this point in my DMing, I don't think my likes and dislikes are gonna change that much, or at the very least, I don't think my dislikes stem from me not knowing how those aspects of the game work, but I do appreciate that. I did get quite a bit of concern over not loving combat the most, which was interesting, but you gotta understand, guys, I DM for a large table, so combat for me is me building encounters for 7 to 8 PCs. It's not the standard party size, it's twice the standard party size. So it's just naturally going to be a bit more stressful, and it's always going to take a lot longer than combat would at just like an average table. So that's part of what factors into me not always loving combat, because I know it takes a really long time, and I definitely don't want to add to that. And I'm having to be hyper aware about action economy and overall balance and stuff. So that's part of why I don't always love combat, and why I much prefer to get into the roleplay and just the general progression of the story. So that's like a little bit of me trying to explain at least that aspect of my dislike list, because some of y'all seemed a little concerned about that one, but I appreciate your comments and stuff like that. Overall, y'all are some pretty nice people, which is great. So enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you next time, guys.